We watched a Black Friday game versus the Chicago Bears and the Philadelphia Eagles. And let's just say the Chicago Bears put on a dominant performance versus the Philadelphia Eagles. What's next for them? And then we're hearing that Frank Ragnow, who was expected to come out of retirement for the Detroit Lions, will not be playing for a reason. And then we got to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and their recent victory on Thanksgiving over the Kansas City Chiefs. Will they go on a run with the Philadelphia Eagles, now struggling mightily? Y'all know we're going to talk about it, break it all down. But of course, you got to hear the music first.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, NFL fans? Welcome back into another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. I'm your host here, Bobby, and I'm holding it down on this daily episode. So if you're tuned in, love talking football, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Now, yesterday we watched the only game on Black Friday on Amazon Prime. I'm on Amazon Prime, and we watched the Chicago Bears dominate the Philadelphia Eagles. For the Chicago Bears' sake, man, 281 yards on the ground with two of their running backs going over 125 yards. 125 for DeAndre Swift, 130 for Kyle Monangai, and the Chicago Bears as a team ran a total of 47 times on the ground. It was crazy. The trenches for the Chicago Bears has come a long way. There has been many instances where we've seen the Chicago Bears offensive line be abysmal. In fact, last year, we watched Caleb Williams get sacked 68 times behind a terrible O-line. And there must be a lot of credit given to the Chicago Bears front office and Ryan Poles and the president and Kevin Warren for them first going out there and getting head coach Ben Johnson, and then secondly, going out there and addressing the interior O-line. And Ben Johnson in Chicago looks like something that can be a part of Chicago for the foreseeable future, and something that the Chicago Bears fans are hoping that this can be a relationship amongst us as fans and with Ben Johnson for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years to come. But it is only one season. We don't know where it's going to go from here, but I can tell you that Ben Johnson has his guys bought in at 100%. Caleb Williams necessarily didn't have a great game, going 17-36 yesterday for 154 yards, one touchdown, one interception, and was sacked twice. But when it was time to go out there and show that he was, can overcome and really put the Philadelphia Eagles team away, there was a play to where the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams, he rolled out to his left, could have went to the flat route with DeAndre Swift, but absolutely threw a dart to Cole Kmet for a touchdown to give the Chicago Bears a 24-point, to put 24 points up for the team and really put the Philadelphia Eagles team away. Now, for the Philadelphia Eagles, man, they are in trouble. The Philadelphia Eagles are absolutely in trouble. That performance lets me know yesterday that they are letting go of that rope. Well, we've seen it back in 2023 to where they started 10-1 and completely collapsed at the end of the season. I don't necessarily know if that's what's going to be the case this time around, but with a offense that is struggling, with a defense that did not play inspired football, one can only wonder if that epic collapse is going to happen for the Philadelphia Eagles. You seen that Jalen Hurts, 19-34 in the game, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and it's okay numbers. But when you actually watch the game, you see Jalen Hurts miss a wide open Dallas Goedert for a touchdown, and instead he went to Devontae Smith, and that was not good communication between Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith on that play. And the running game has struggled all season long. The Philadelphia Eagles gave the ran the ball 13 times with Saquon Barkley. He only had 56 yards. And as a team, they only had a total of 87 yards. There have been some people calling for Tank Bigsby to get some rushing attempts, but that did not happen in yesterday's game. And you can only imagine that the frustration that has been displayed for the Philadelphia Eagles, it was probably a little more amplified yesterday, especially when you got pushed around by a Chicago Bears team who, quite frankly, with you, a lot of people were saying that, hey, they have a negative point differential. These guys are not for real. They're frauds. They're going to get into the thick of things at the back half as their schedule gets tough, and they play the Philadelphia Eagles. They play the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to play Green Bay twice and still have a matchup with San Francisco and all these other teams, and people were wrong, at least for right now, when it comes to the Chicago Bears. A dominant performance for them and a very lackluster performance for the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot has been made about A.J. Brown for the Philadelphia Eagles and him wanting to be a part of everything. And though he did have 10 receptions for 132 yards, these guys got punked. The Philadelphia Eagles got punked yesterday. I know that they don't have that offensive line that they once had last year where Saquon Barkley was able to rush for over 2,000 yards or whatnot. I understand that they are not showing that the defensive line that we've seen in the Super Bowl go out there and terrorize Patrick Mahomes, but that was a bad effort. Like this game, if certain elements weren't a part of this game, one could argue that the Chicago Bears could have put up over 30 points in this game while the Philadelphia Eagles struggle mightily all day long. All day long. And somehow, some way, with all the pushback versus the Chicago Bears, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl, they won that Super Bowl. They are the reigning champs. They got punked, bro. They got punked. But hey, let me know how y'all feeling about that game, man, because that was a game. Honestly, I did not expect to turn out like that. I expected the Philadelphia Eagles to come out there and show some heart, especially how they gave up that game last week to the Dallas Cowboys after being up 21. I expected them to come out with their hair on fire and really let people know that we ain't about to collapse like years past. We about to go out here and put our best foot forward and play good sound football. And they did not do that. So we'll see where they go from here. But it's giving opportunities to a team that looks like they're going to get hot and possibly go on a run in the Dallas Cowboys, who we'll talk about shortly. Before we get and talk about can the Dallas Cowboys go on a run, let's talk about the Detroit Lions. It is being reported by Adam Schefter from ESPN that Frank Ragnow failed his physical and will not play this season for the Detroit Lions. Earlier this week, we heard from reporters and all that Frank Ragnow was going to come out of retirement to play for a Detroit Lions offensive line that needs him like expeditiously. They need him. But this is coming directly from the Detroit Lions camp or front office. They released a statement. Here's the statement. Frank Ragnow reported to our facility yesterday and went through the normal process of meetings. Unfortunately, during a routine meeting with our medical team, Frank failed his physical. The medical exam revealed a grade 3 hamstring strain that will keep him from participating for the remainder of the regular season. For that reason, Frank will not be joining the Lions. Frank has always been a team first guy and is a true warrior. He will forever be a Lion. That seems like he's going back into retirement the way they end that one. And that's just another major blow for a Detroit Lions team who is struggling a little bit as well. See, this is the thing when we talk to Detroit Lions fans, and I get it. Y'all, you have talent all around the team. But when you lose certain coordinators and a really good coordinator in Ben Johnson, things have to change or will change with your offense. Now, we seen that they was leaning on Morton, and then Dad Campbell benched them and took over play calling duties. And he has struggled in certain situations, especially in situations to where you got to give your team the best opportunity to win. For an example, on their Thanksgiving game versus the Green Bay Packers, we watched the Detroit Lions be down 10 points. Dan Campbell, instead of taking the 3 points, He was aggressive by sticking to his morals and saying that we're going to be aggressive. And I respect it because he stuck to who he is. But at that particular moment, you've been struggling all day. It's been a back and forth affair. You need points. And it was about 10 minutes left in that fourth quarter. You kick the field goal. You close the gap. It's a 7-point game. And literally, the next drive, his defense was able to get him the ball back. So then instead of being down 7, you missed that opportunity on fourth down, and now you're still down 10 points. You have to take them, especially with the way that Green Bay was playing in that particular game. You had at that moment to take the points. It was a bad throw by Jared Goff, and J-Mo just couldn't reel in the pass. But if you would have taken the points, you would have still had an opportunity to go out there and tie the game. Not necessarily saying that you wouldn't have been able to win, but you would have given yourself a better opportunity to try to win that game. And now a struggling offensive line who allowed 2.5 sacks to Michael Parsons, you're not getting any help now. You're not getting more help on your offensive line. And here's one key thing that I think is hurting the Detroit Lions run game. You're not splitting the reps correctly between Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery versus an aggressive D line in the Packers. You need a thumper. Jahmyr Gibbs is not a thumper. He's a scat back. He's a guy that can break things open. So when you go against a good defensive line, you need a thumper, a guy that's going to go out there and lay some wood and soften up the defense a little bit. Then you can lean on Jahmyr Gibbs. And I think that Dan Campbell, his whole entire game plan was weird because instead of running in between the tackles or up the gut or A gap, B gap, however you want to go, he kept running sideline to sideline. And every single time they attempted to do that, 9 times out of 10, the Green Bay Packers were all over it and shutting it down. When in return, I feel like you could have been a little bit more aggressive. You could have been more decisive in allowing David Montgomery to soften that defensive line to wear them down to where you can sustain some drives. But hey, now you sit here, you take that loss, you frustrate your team, and now you get more bad news with Frank Ragnow not being able to return. This is where you are. So Detroit, you're on the clock, buddy, because you got a couple tough matchups coming too. And that matchup is going to be coming up. Your next matchup is going to be coming versus the Dallas Cowboys, who on next Thursday, they're going to be feeling real good about themselves. Get the comeback win over the Eagles, get the upset victory over the Kansas City Chiefs, and they are flying high. And hey, we're going to see what them Dallas Cowboys do coming up. Now, let's transition to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and can they possibly go on a run? I say it's on the table. I really believe it's on the table. Here's the Dallas Cowboys upcoming schedule to end the season. Detroit, Minnesota, the Chargers, the Commanders, and the Giants. That's a very favorable slate of games for the Dallas Cowboys. You ask me, the Dallas Cowboys have a strong chance of giving themselves an opportunity to make the playoffs. It's a long shot, but they can give themselves an opportunity to make the playoffs based on the improvement from the interior defensive line. I always say I love edge rushers, but there is no pass rush more impactful than the interior pass rush. That's just my opinion. If you want to have a different opinion, that's fair. I'm not against saying that the edge rush is more impactful, but my personal belief, the hardest or the more impactful pass rush comes from the interior D-line, in my personal opinion. And I think that the Dallas Cowboys could potentially go on a run, but we shall see. For the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that they're going to have to catch, at least if they want the division or give themselves an opportunity, and they got to hope that some other teams may fall. We shall see. But for the Philadelphia Eagles, their schedule is the Chargers, the Raiders, Washington, Buffalo, Washington. So a favorable slate of games for them as well. But we're going to see. I think we just got to wait and see. We're going to see how it's all going to play out. And I think that the Dallas Cowboys, they have something that's right there for them. They have something that's working. They have two number one wide receivers. And if you double up on CD, you can go to George Pickens. If you double up on George Pickens, you can go to CD. And then that running game has been good for them. The offensive line has been good for them. All the struggles and how bad we talked about the Dallas Cowboys early in the season. Look at them now. Look at them now. That's all I'm saying. Look at them now. Now you have an opportunity to probably snag up the 7 seed. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, that's the San Francisco 49ers. They've been winning games. They are beneficiaries of a light schedule, but we'll see how it all maps out. They're currently sitting at 8-4 to give the Dallas Cowboys an opportunity. I think that for the most part, the NFC playoffs is kind of like what it's going to be. Because you got the Rams at 1, the Bears right now at 2. They can either continue to stay where they are, or they can fall off with some crucial matchups coming up versus the Green Bay Packers. Then you got the Eagles, who I believe is going to be there. But if they spiral out of control, Dallas Cowboys, they can potentially snag up something. Tampa Bay, look, the NFC South, they're going to grab the 4th seed. That's just how it's going to go. I don't see Seattle coming out of the 5th spot. Yeah, I don't see them coming out of that 5th spot. I think they will still be a playoff team. Green Bay, I believe, is going to be a playoff team. So the Dallas Cowboys, if you cannot gain ground in the East, you might have to go out there and settle for a 7 seed. And my God, does nobody want to play a good Dallas? This Dallas Cowboys team is a 7 seed going against the 2 seed right now to beat the Chicago Bears. I ain't going to lie to you. That's a tough-ass matchup. That's a tough-ass matchup for the Chicago Bears. Not even going to lie to you. Even if the roles were reversed and the Green Bay Packers was in that spot. Damn, that'll be a game to see. Hey, I ain't going to lie to y'all. That'll be a matchup I would want to see any day. Green Bay versus the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. Micah Parsons now a Green Bay Packer. Jerry Jones and Dak Prescott and them boys flaunting and talking crazy now that they're getting some wins. I would love to see that playoff matchup. But we still got weeks to go in the NFL, man. But this is why we love the sport. This is why we love talking about it, man. But hey, let me know if you believe Dallas Cowboys can go on that run. I don't know. We got to see it to believe it, baby. Got to see it to believe it. And what's next for the Philadelphia Eagles? Is going to rise up, or they going to... I don't know why they still ain't fired Kevin Patullo. He ain't doing a good job, gang. You're not doing it. So we absolutely have to be better when looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, or when they look at themselves. They have to be better. But hey, that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of NFL Central. Before y'all get up out of here, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well, man. We appreciate y'all over here. Make sure you always love football, and y'all already know. We're going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.